Trying to do some sketchy shit. Doo-dah, doo-dah. Hope I get away with it. Oh, da doo-dah day.
Blasted pollen. I almost had to delay the show because I had a sneezing fit. Hi there, I'm Dan Hollifield. Welcome to Last Man Standing. Um, Stupid Clock was a lot of fun tonight. I mean, a lot of fun. If you haven't seen that yet, please watch the replay and enjoy yourselves because we did. Why shouldn't everybody else? With me tonight, I got Thesis, I've got Paul, and maybe we'll even be lucky enough for Dawn to be able to change computers, and because she's got to let her boyfriend go to bed, and she usually does stupid o'clock from behind the curtain in the bedroom. So she will have to get the laptop and move to the living room if she is not too tired. Aunt Donna went to bed a little while ago, so we are not going to be blessed with the goddess that is Aunt Donna tonight, and she will undoubtedly enjoy the sleep but regret not being here with us. So,
Yes, Donna.
Always a lot of fun. And even more fun in person when you get to hear her make jokes that she self edits for airtime.
Thesis is fun too. You're fun too, Thesis.
Oh, I know.
I try to be.
Hey, Thesis, is your show next Saturday or this Saturday coming up? Not last night, obviously, but
no, it'll be this coming Saturday. Like
yeah, I know you try and do them like every other week.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good, because people should not miss that. If you've got any interest in what's the proper term now? I keep wanting to say Asian philosophy.
I mean that works, but it's mostly centered on Chinese culture, philosophy, history, martial arts.
And occasionally food.
Yeah, that does tend to happen from time to time.
Yeah, especially when you and Foxy haven't you start the show before you had time to eat.
Yeah, that
So
was my mistake, but
hey, it happens. It
yeah,
happens. Right now, I wish that I'd made myself another hot dog, but didn't have time between the two shows, and I hate to eat on air.
yeah,
It always feels rude because
yeah,
I'm not I'm not physically able to share, and I live out in the middle of bumfuck Tatooine, and nobody can get here. Uh, oh,
You guys might like this. It's especially Dan. You do the SCA stuff. I'm
uh,
assuming you do too, thesis. But this guy
I
sings really cool. He sings
not
really cool.
not in about 30 years, but I I I
But
think they
that
still have me listed as an inactive member.
the video I just linked is the Death of King Arthur. It was a pretty neat song, and he's got lots of other stuff too. Really, really cool guy.
Mm, okay, I will have to check that out. Let me see if I can post the link. There we go. Yes, it does let me post the link. Folks, check that out. It.
His
I'm
name
gonna
is
try and bookmark it here so I can
his name
watch
is
it.
Peter Pringle, and he's just got all this really fascinating historical music. It's just YouTube, for whatever and its brilliance, decided to share uh, his channel with me today, and I clicked on it, and I was just instantly sucked right into it. It's really cool music. A lot of it's like ancient Sumerian and things like that, but
Hey,
cool stuff. At least it
history.
has the subtitles at the bottom, so you can
Yeah,
understand what he's saying. So,
history is history. I find lots and lots of different bits and pieces of it to be absolutely fascinating.
mhm.
And there are bits and pieces, human beings, what they are tragic and ultimately sad.
I
But
I typically like just music. Like if I listen to a lot of classical music, and I don't like opera.
No,
Um,
no,
I'd
no,
rather have
no.
instrumental things like that. But this guy's voice is so captivating that even though I can't understand most of the music that he's playing, the English stuff I can, but most of the other stuff that he's playing, even though I can't understand it, his voice is just like it's just amazing. And you can't help but listen to it. At least I couldn't. I was
hey,
impressed, and I'm hard to impress when it comes to stuff like that.
hey, in that case, don't go check out my Bandcamp if you're that damn hard to impress. Uh,
Well, I check out. I still check out your music, Dan. I'm not complaining. I'm pretty sure I've checked out your music. I can't remember now. I'm sorry if I
uh,
haven't.
that's all right.
I listened to I
I
listened to
did some music for thesis he used in one of his shows for showing off his sword collection, and I thought, ooh,
Yes, I
this is
did.
an honor. Hmm.
I listened to Baroque mostly, and then I get kind of eclectic for some things. Like I like punk and things like that, but most of the time I don't listen to people singing. Every once in a while I do, but it's not. It's rare. It's kind of rare. And I like dark ambient music, except a lot of that lately has turned into just drone, and I don't like the drone stuff. That's annoying.
I understand. I understand. Um, it's not something that has a great appeal for me, but um, it can also reach back into history with uh, the Australian natives with the didgeridoos and things like that, where
Definitely,
that
yeah,
may be where they kind of picked it
possibly.
up from. But
There's one. What's the name of the group? It's not really a group. It's a guy. He plays like he's got this sound equipment. He plays regenerative music. Like he'll put like some sounds into this big bank of things that he has.
Would that be Dovidas?
No, not him. But I can look it up. But it's got one of the songs in particular that I like is called "Folding Space," and it's really good. I listen to it sometimes for sleep music.
Mm-hmm.
Weird music when I go to sleep. The weirder the music, the better the dream, basically.
Yeah, I did one entire album. The working title was "This'll Put You to Sleep."
Oh,
It was,
I remember without looking it up. It's State Azure, Azure, like State Blue, I guess.
okay.
But Folding Space that's one of my favorites. He's got a lot of good music. He plays stuff on Twitch too.
I highly recommend Bjorn Lynn, although he has done a lot of music since the first thing he sent me to do a CD review of, which was called The Void, and that wound up replacing Dark Side of the Moon in my 5-disc CD player for about 20 years.
Wow.
Hey, he is humble enough to say that's too much praise, but that was the way I thought of it. It's very involved. It's got maybe 3 words of speech in it and no lyrics, and it is an entire music CD on the theme of basically astronaut's capsule goes out of orbit and he winds up riding through eternity for as long as his life support holds out. So it's Buck Rogers without the rescue. Hey, it's mostly instrumental. Like I said, I think there's 2, maybe 3 words spoken through the whole thing, and that's it. It's all him with his keyboards and guitars and everything. He does an awful lot of music for video games, as well as doing soundtracks to fantasy novels, and well, he's gotten into a lot of different stuff here in the last 25 years or thereabouts. So he's always learning and growing. He lives in Norway, I do believe. I'm not sure. One of the Scandinavian countries, I think. That's as close as I could narrow it down from memory. And he's got an umlaut in his name, so that ought to be a clue right there.
Yeah.
Anybody named Bjorn, they're not going to be from Memphis,
Probably not.
No, not going to wind up playing background music on the. Okay, Aphasia, I hate you. You always make me look bad. Charlie Daniels or something around in that area. Really beautiful stuff. I've run across a lot of really beautiful work by artists I'd never heard of before since I first got online in 1995. I've been at this for a little while. Beginning to look like I've been at this for a little while. My hair actually had a color back then. Oh dear. But life goes on, and as long as it goes on, I'm not going to complain. It could be a whole lot worse.
Yeah.
Well, Dawn hasn't showed up, so either they're having a Hallowcon staff meeting, or she's not been able to set the laptop up in the other room, so she wants to go to bed. All of which are viable options. I mean, it's not like anybody's obligated to do this.
No, but it's fun.
Yeah, it is. It's always fun. This is why I keep doing it. Um, although there have been times that it's not quite as fun as it should have been, and that's not something anybody could have controlled at the time. But life is. Things get in the way. Problems are in the back of your mind that you would really like to not worry about, but you can't help but worry about. And Prince Matic, yes. Yeah. The local SCA.
You might like that too, Dan. You bring up Cthulhu a lot, so or
Wait, I mean, seriously.
Cthulhu, I meant Necromnicon, and it reminds me a lot of that kind of the Maddox stuff is in Desperation. It's really it's interesting. It's interesting things you can do with musical instruments. It can give you very dreams if you sleep to it.
I mean, Thesis has learned how to make the guitar sound like a koto, which is not easy. Believe me, I can't do it.
It was easier than you think, but
But can you make your guitar talk?
If I had the right effect pedal, I probably could, but not right now.
You need a pipe in your mouth too. I've seen
Yeah.
What song is that? He puts it's like a tube in his mouth, and then he has a pedal, and he can kind of talk, and it sounds like his guitar is talking. It's really cool.
There's a couple of people that have done that. The one that's the most famous is oh God, it came out when I was in high school. Do You Feel Like I Do?
Yeah. That's one of the main ones where that was like the first one to ever do that.
Well, first one that got famous doing that.
Well, okay, but I'll stick to the first one that never.
Peter Frampton.
First to be recognized, then you're probably first.
Mm-hmm.
Don't tell that who invented the microphone or the megaphone or the phone or the light bulb.
One of the things that I have enjoyed is that Robert Fripp of King Crimson did a lot of work for a while with an electromagnetic plectrum for his guitar. So it looks kind of like a little bitty stapler, and he holds onto it and triggers it, and because it's electromagnetic, the guitar strings vibrate without him having to touch them. And it gives the most awesome sustained tones.
I've seen some cool music they've done with Tesla coils and doing that kind of thing too. Lightning hitting the guitars and all kinds of stuff. It's insane.
There's a group that does that. I mean, they've got, 2-story, 3-story tall Tesla coils that they set up on either side of the stage, and a Faraday cage they stand in, and it's just dramatic as all get out. I think they even one time did one of the older versions of the Doctor Who theme.
Yeah.
And
they've done a couple really iconic things you'd recognize, and the music, you'd recognize the music, and it's really cool. It's just amazing. I love watching shit like that.
Yep. And like you, my taste in music is very, very eclectic. Um, my parents introduced me to um, swing and big band music back before I could walk because that was their childhood music,
Yep.
and I've never lost my love of big bands. I mean,
No, they have there's a whole new movement with swing. Dan, there's like um there's channels to show you how to do these swing dance steps and
mhm,
that's like made this huge comeback. Well, not
I'm
huge,
glad.
not huge. Maybe it's because of what I tune into, but it seems big to me because it's everywhere. I think it's just electric swing is what they're calling it now. These guys some really cool music.
Yeah, when
And then postmodern jukebox, I love that group.
Postmodern
oh
jukebox.
yeah, they are really good.
Uh-huh.
Um, however, I found that maybe 5 songs in a row is my limit for postmodern jukebox.
And
That's
And
if you have
I'm not,
Haley
I'm,
singing, I can listen to it all day.
well, it's just by the time I've heard 5 in a row, I'm ready to move on to a different genre. Um, that's just me. It doesn't mean the music's not good. It
no,
just
no.
means, hey, I'm ready to change gears now.
Yeah, there's a couple of songs that are really, really good. And then there's some that will definitely make you change the channel because it's just like, okay, I've had it. But there are a few. Haley Reinhart, I could listen to her all day. Her
Mhm.
voice is just, I don't know. And it doesn't hurt that she's attractive. Um,
Well, that never hurts.
that never
Nope.
hurt. There's a couple of the postmodern jukebox girls that are like, ouch.
Mhm.
But
Um,
but Haley gets me. I like her music. I saw her first time I ever saw her was on America's Got Talent, or no, American Idol. I think it was. I think it was American Idol. Yeah, American Idol. And I've just been impressed by her ever since. But
Oh,
yeah, that's the thing about music. So many people do so many different things, and they're so good. Um, and you wind up going, "Oh wow, I've got to find more
yeah,
than you do," and that leads you down an infinite rabbit hole of, "Hey, here's a recommendation of somebody you've never heard before. Check this out," and you
hmm
bounce around all
I want
night long.
I want to go to Madison Square Garden so bad before Billy Joel retires.
Mm,
And I know that he's going to retire any day, but
yeah,
I want so bad to Madison Square Garden. That's the only place he performs now. He will not go anywhere else. He only goes to Madison Square. He does it a couple times a year.
he can afford it. I mean, it's
Oh
not
yeah,
like people are going to stop buying his records.
no, I love his music. Um, my ex and I had fights over that. She
Mm,
did not like Billy Joel.
that's
no.
fun though. When you have differing tastes in a relationship, it's you can
No,
introduce them to things and they introduce you into things and it doesn't always match up and then you just kind of go,
yes,
okay, well,
some things were extreme.
yeah,
She liked other men, I didn't. That kind of thing.
well, yeah,
Mm,
that tends to be an issue.
yeah, well, that's not my lifestyle either, but I know plenty of people that is their lifestyle, and that's just fine for them.
I'm happily single
Um,
now, by the way.
well, I'm happily married, but
I
previously
tried marriage
weren't
twice.
so
I
happy.
tried
But
marriage twice so far. I don't know if three. I don't think. I'm pretty sure at this point there probably won't be a three. But I mean, I'm only 57, so I guess I can never say never. My grandfather started a whole nother family when he was 67. So
yeah, well,
or I
I
wouldn't be
got
here
ano-
if he didn't. So
Well, there you
I
go.
got another 6 months, so no, um, no. I've told Lindsay if anything ever happens to her and I have to live out the rest of my life without her, I'm just going to rent from now on. Uh, and she hates that joke, but other people laugh at it. Uh,
I've actually thought about it, but no, I'm very I'm very I don't know how to put it. Conservative. I'm a square. I'm a very square person. Very.
Well, I'm naturally born monogamous, is the way I put it.
Yeah. Same.
I like to focus on one relationship, and that's it. Not try and have too many distractions. Just uh, you know, for as long as it lasts, and hopefully it lasts a long time. Some do, some don't. Um, Hell, I was in college in the '70s. I'm fairly aware with a lot of things that uh, could be not anathema to some folks nowadays, but certainly foreign.
Yeah,
Um,
probably.
but the thing is, whatever works for you is right,
Mm-hmm.
and don't judge somebody else for what won't work for you because they can find a way to make it work. Just kind of sit back and go, cool. Um, let's go to the taco stand. I mean, seriously, change the subject and let everybody live the way they want to, or the way that works best for them.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
But I agree with the monogamy thing. I stayed in a bad relationship for 30 years because
3.5. I wasn't married, but I was young and stupid.
well, my first marriage lasted about 3 years. We were young, but her family didn't like me, and they convinced her to leave. So she,
mm,
her and my daughter, our daughter, they live with her family to this day, and that was a long time ago.
well,
Then the second one, I tried really hard to stay married, made it 30 years, and then you get to a point where enough of the bullshit's enough of the bullshit. So
yeah, there are. I guess the generous way to say it is dysfunctional relationships that you had no idea were going to wind up that way.
Yep.
Um,
yeah,
yep.
well, the signs were there, but I didn't read them.
Well, I
Or
mean, seriously, when you figure it out, probably time to pull the ripcord.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It doesn't
hard
matter.
to
It doesn't
see.
matter how long it went on, how long your patience lasted. Um, if if somebody's not treating you right, time to walk.
Hard
Um,
to see red flags when you're wearing rose-colored glasses. So
that's one of the best ways I've ever heard that put. Um,
yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't
they
help.
all they all look like white flags. Somebody's surrendering in there. Um,
Mm-hmm.
uh, but no, relationships are complex, and everyone is different, and everyone has different complexities to them. Sometimes, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. If it's not working, it is as horrible it is to experience. Like I said, time to pull the ripcord. Um, I'm just glad I got lucky this time. Um,
So am I.
Was that your? What was it for you, Dan? Three's the charm. Is that how it worked out?
pretty much has been, except unless you want to count the short terms and no licenses, and then it would be something about like 12 or 15. I don't know. I don't count. I'm
I
not
know.
trying. I'm not interested in keeping score. Um,
Right. Well, I never tried it the other way, but yeah.
well, if I had, and I've got to admit, most of the time when it didn't work, it was because I was very immature and not a little bit selfish. So thought something was going to work, and after a year or two, it stopped working. Or after a month or two, it stopped working. Or after a date or two, it stopped working. you know, um, every variation you could think of. But no, I think the main thing that made it work with Lindsay and myself is we knew each other in an online chat room for almost 10 years before it ever occurred to either one of us to develop a romance. And when that time came and we made that decision, things just kind of kept clicking. And it's still clicking along today.
Mm-hmm.
I'm infernally grateful. Um, I mean, this has been. I've been really lucky this time, um, and it's not always easy. It's not always smooth, but there are times when it works. As a friend of ours said, this is crazy, but it's just crazy enough so it might work. And we got lucky; it did. Um, I'm very glad that we actually made the conscious decision to give it a try. And after that, we've been together since um, October 5th, 2005. And we got married in 2006. And it's been a roller coaster, but hey, I know how to fasten a seatbelt. Um, and so does she. I'm not the easiest person in the world to live with. I'm a writer. I mean, good grief. I'm 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 legally insane. Um, I throw words at paper and have imaginary voices in my head, and I like it. Um, she's been incredibly patient with me, and I have had to be incredibly patient with her as well. It works out. It's a partnership. Um, I believe that's probably the best way to go about it. Is it's a partnership.
Oh yeah, for
Um,
sure.
you're not going to get your way all the time. They're not going to get their way all the time. But if you can negotiate and find a middle ground that is less stony to walk, then that path opens up into something much better than you ever expected before. Um, when people get together and it doesn't work, um, sometimes it's just a matter of, hey, we're different, but we're not willing to negotiate the difference between the differences. If that makes any damn sense.
Oh
Oh yeah.
yeah.
Um, it's just life. It's just life. Life is very complex and a fun ride, and can bring up bits and pieces of tragedy that you either overcome or you walk away from. Um, it depends on the people involved. That's all. Um, I don't know how to put it any better. I mean, words are my toolbox, and I can't I can't think of a better way to say it. Really, um, you either work at it or you don't. It's either rewarding or it isn't. It's either glory or tragedy, and you don't know until you try. You know,
Pretty much.
sometimes you can't do anything. Sometimes you get everything right and you don't even know how. Um, it when the lightning strikes,
Oh yeah.
pay attention because sometimes you can go, "Oh, nope, this is not what I signed up for," and you walk away too early. And sometimes you stick it out too long. Um, there's
Oh
you,
yeah.
you never know until it happens.
That's my
I
problem.
mean, you're in the middle of it. You can't tell whether this is going to be.
Yeah, but when you
Um,
can, sometimes you can, but you hang on anyway.
yeah,
You think you're doing the right
yeah, yeah. Sometimes you see all the warning signs, but as Thesis says, you're wearing rose-colored glasses, so you can't see the red flags.
or that,
Um,
or you're trying to do the right thing because you have kids and stuff, and it's
yeah, yeah.
introduces a whole new um, um,
Um,
percent of the
I have
equation, and
I
it's
have
just
I have a daughter from my first marriage. I have a daughter or a son from my second marriage, and Lindsay has gifted me with uh, three of her children from two of her marriages, and I wouldn't want to be without those kids. I mean, I didn't get invited to the conceptions, but that's a side issue right there. Um, oh,
I have 6 children, so I got invited to a lot of conceptions.
uh,
One from my first wife and 5 from the second crazy person. Um,
mm,
but I mean, you try to
yeah,
hang. You hang in there. You don't. Some people they're able to let go easier or whatever, and and part of it for me boiled down to I couldn't afford to. Um,
well, I had this. My family pretty much raised me to be a father. Didn't work out, but I make one hell of a dad. Experiences were the same, circumstances were different, and I don't care. I wouldn't trade any of my kids or my grandkids or my great grandkids or my great grandkids for anything in the world. There's no amount of treasure that would make not having them be less than torture. Um,
It's not fun.
somehow, hmm?
It's not fun. The closest I've
Oh,
ever come to having any children is I helped my second fiance raise her son for a year, and then we split up, and I've hardly seen him since. He's all grown up and married with 2 kids of his own, I think. And then my one and only, child of my own was stillborn. So, yeah.
I'm sorry to
yeah.
hear
I went through that too. There was one that was uh, aborted before I ever knew it existed, and
Mm.
a set of twins that were miscarried. And aside from that, I don't have any biological children. I have stepchildren. I hate the step word. I really do.
Yeah.
Um, I I got invited to be their dad, and that's as close as I'm ever going to get, and that's just fine with me. I have done my best to instill them with the values that I was instilled with, and give them confidence to live their lives without any interference and not take any shit off anybody. So, you know, I figure I'm doing pretty good.
I,
Um,
I have a stepmother, and I have no problems putting evil and step as adjectives for that name. So for that person,
yeah, but
definitely evil stepmother. She drove a wedge between my father and I, and
well, that's an entirely different thing.
oh yeah, it
Hmm.
was
This is
good.
my mom has a problem that none of my kids are biologically mine. Now, I can't understand that because she's met them and she actually loves them. It's just, it's like they don't count somehow. And that's a very 1920s, 30s, 40s attitude that I
Well,
can't share.
my parents do the same thing. See, my brother-in-law got with a woman who already had 2 kids, and then they went on to have a little girl of their own. And for some completely insane reason, the 2 kids that weren't his were really, really attached to my parents. My mother works in an elementary school and has worked in the same school for 50 years, something like that.
Hmm.
So both kids went to that school and they just latched onto her, and they were calling her, grandma, and she's over there going, "I'm not your grandma. You're not related to me." And I'm like, "Bullshit. They are too."
Huh, weird.
Yeah, exactly.
Just because me and Foxy aren't married, and that's her brother, and these are 2 kids that he has claimed, they want to be a part of your life. Why are you being a bitch?
Yeah. And I hate to toss around the words generation gap, but that seems to be the catch-all term for that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and it even works for grandchildren of mine, where I was absolutely legally married to their grandmother. So there shouldn't be a problem. But uh, unfortunately, there is, and I can't do anything about it. Um,
But there
I
doesn't
love my,
need to be.
I love my mom, but sometimes she gets really
Well,
up my nose.
let me give you something from my personal experience with having step parents and things like that. Um, it, I don't think it's not. In some cases, it might be a learned thing, but in other cases, it's just I don't know. It's like it's almost psychic. Like I could never really um, get attached to any of the people, stepfathers that I had, or the stepmother that I had. But and she tried a little bit, but then she got this weird jealousy thing going with, because the few hours I'd get to spend with my dad, he put all of his attention on me, and she would get this weird jealousy thing. But
Mm,
it's not just that. I never got attached to her parents, even though we saw them quite frequently, and I never got attached to any step grandparents that I might have had. It's just I was 4.5 when my mother, or 4 when my mother divorced my father, and about partly because she got pregnant by somebody else. And she hooked up with that guy for a long time. They were married for 10 years, and there's reasons I couldn't be attached to him. But there's just, I think it's not always a conscious thing. Sometimes it's just a instinctive thing, or maybe a ancient emotional, but definitely kind of psychic in a way. They might not be able, they're feeling, in other words, whatever feelings they're having, they might not be able to help it. They might not.
Yeah,
Just
exactly. Exactly. I look at it as being more cultural than anything else.
yeah, and I don't even see it that way. I see it as, because for me, I was too young for it to be a cultural thing. It's just there was something there that I couldn't form an attachment with these new people, even though I was very young, and very young people usually have pretty easy time. And I was, as a little kid, I was friends with more old people than I was people my age, because I spoke well, and I had some intelligence, and I knew how to talk to the older people. So I got along with people. That wasn't the problem. It was just something. There was something there that not learned. It was just an instinctual kind of thing. So
Yeah.
it may or may not. I'm not saying that's with everybody, but it may or may not be a cultural issue or a learned issue. It may just be something that they can't help feeling, and they might not know why they don't feel anything.
No, I'm willing to believe that easily. Yeah. Um,
But I'm a very strange
people are very complex animals. A
and people
lot of
forget
the things
they're
we
animals.
do, we have no conscious reason for doing them. We just do them, and that carries over into different relationships, even inside large families. Um, one of my mom's brothers married a lady, and they had trouble having their own children, so they adopted some, and then they had some biologically, and nobody in the family
Happens.
made any difference between any of the four of them,
Right,
the kids, I mean.
right.
But my mom is taking the opposite tack with me being in the same situation. So I don't know. I don't know. I can't explain it.
Oh, that's strange.
I have to accept it because this is reality. So you
Right.
either take reality as it's gifted to you, or you go nuts. And uh, as crazy as I am, I'm not nuts. Um, there is a little bit of a difference, I do believe.
Skosh. Skosh. I know. I get crazy. So
I just go, hey, um, do you hand me a child and say I'm responsible? I'm responsible. I'm going to raise this child as best as I can for as long as I'm allowed. And if things happen that drive a wedge in between whoever's concerned, um, if it's something beyond my control, I can't change that. I just have to deal with it. I don't have to like it, but I have to deal with it. And it's really not that big a deal. I mean, when the kids visit, um, and mom's there, she doesn't treat them any differently in person. It's just this wedge that only is apparent to me or the kids' moms. And since two of them are no longer with us, Lindsay has to carry the burden of that dealing with my mom. Um, and I'm just going, Mom, get over it. Uh, this is reality.
Yep.
Oh, and here's everybody's favorite gigolo. Uh,
Not hardly.
not hardly.
And everyone he knows.
Oh, believe me.
Go on about him.
You're not wrong.
No, we're not wrong. We have been introduced to the cult of Chris. We know, and we can still fail to hear Dawn's ultrasonic squee.
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah. Joe Dog and I will both be at Huntsville next weekend.
Okay, what you doing in Huntsville?
Promoting at Huntsville Comic Expo.
Oh,
Nice.
okay.
That was probably our biggest live promotion last year. Of course, they had Shatner last year, so you know anytime Shatner's involved, there's a boatload of people.
Mm-hmm. Well, if you get the chance, get in touch with Stephanie
Yeah.
because she kind of needs us right now.
Yeah, we met with her for I think she was there last year. I don't think she's going to be there this year. But we'll probably meet with her for dinner for one night. We usually do that. And Takei's going to be there this year and some others. So
He's always fun.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
you know,
they try and keep him and Bill separated.
Chris, you said you're in Huntsville?
it will
We're
be.
going to be in Huntsville. I'm actually closer to Chattanooga than I am anywhere.
Well, if you go to Huntsville and you need a new tattoo, go to my daughter's tattoo shop. She's about to have a baby, and she'd love to put some ink on anybody.
Okay, what's the name of her shop?
I'm gonna have to look it up because I can't remember. She's still an apprentice, but she does really. I mean, she does awesome tattoos.
Does she do temporary tattoos?
I don't know if they do henna at her shop. It probably wouldn't be beyond her capabilities, other than they probably just don't have the equipment to do that there.
Okay, I was just curious.
Yeah, I don't know. I've never asked. I don't get to see her much because she's way down in Huntsville, and I'm up here in Huntington, West Virginia.
Oh, biggest city there.
Yeah, big city. Mm-hmm.
Hey, for West Virginia, it's huge.
It is. Well, yeah. But actually, it's really small. There's only like 50,000 people, and
more than Charleston, isn't it?
and I don't think so. I think unless they've had a bigger population decline than we have.
Mm-hmm.
The only reason we have that many people, and because it fluctuates, is we have Marshall University here.
Yeah.
And, so our population is seasonal, for the most part, and it's nice. It's a little town. It's not too big. It's not too small. I would rather be. I mean, I'm on top of one of the biggest hills in Huntington, where I bought my house. But I would like to be further out in the mountains in the wilderness than I am now, because I'm not. But yeah, one of my dreams is to have a cabin in the woods. So
Well, one of my
I've
favorite places in West Virginia is the city of Wheeling because that's where George Brett was born.
Ah, yeah, that's a bit north of here.
Yeah, I know it's in that upper little arm that's or the hand that's raised up there in the.
Yeah, and the main thing I remember at Wheeling is the TA truck stop I used to stop at when I was a truck driver, and then the Jane's Gentlemen's Club behind the truck stop when I was a truck driver. They had very pretty young ladies there. Very, very pretty.
Well, most of those
I've
places
I've
tend to
never
have
seen any
those.
place that wasn't able to boast very pretty young ladies.
Well, in West Virginia, it's kind of crazy. It's one of the few places where they don't wear nothing.
Yeah,
No pants,
there's a
undies.
number of those places in the Big A.
Well, I was about to say the only thing I remember about West Virginia is it's an awful lot of fun to ride a motorcycle through,
Mm.
but don't go too fast because some of those curves are really sharp. And especially the curves behind the truck stop at the
Hmm.
at the girly show. Um,
Well,
I haven't had a motorcycle in too long. I'm thinking about getting one in the next year or two.
one of the
Lindsay told me
funniest.
I could get one of those three-wheel Can-Am motorcycles because
Mhm.
she's she's she is concerned about my advancing age and everybody else on the road. So I don't know if she's worried about I'm going to drop a two-wheeler over, or if she wants to make sure that I've got a motorcycle that's big enough to put a dent in a car if somebody tries to hit it.
Mhm.
Um,
Well, they
uh,
are interesting with the two wheels in front and the one in the back.
yeah, I mean it's a
Yeah,
great design,
yeah.
and it's as long as the wheels are separated by that magic triangle, um, they are incredibly stable. Um,
Paul, you reminded me of a joke that I heard one time.
Oh,
So you know what you call working girls in a truck stop?
well, I know what I call them, but
Um,
they have a couple different names. You got lot lizard, horizontal highway.
yeah, lot lizards.
That's the main two. Lot
You,
lizard,
you,
horizontal highway.
you, do you know what you call a lot lizard with a mattress on her back? Owner operator.
Yeah. Yeah, that sounds familiar. There's a comedian called Catfish, and I've listened to a lot of comedy tapes when I was over the road. And Catfish had some of the best truck driving jokes that you could ever listen to. And
Yeah,
I can't remember any of them that I can tell live online. And
yeah. I've worked in carpet mills and in trucking companies, so I've heard a lot over the years.
I'm sure. Yeah,
yeah,
I drove a truck from about 95 to 2000, and lost vision in my left eye at an
Wow.
ophthalmologist, and couldn't drive anymore. And
Mm-hmm.
just when I was getting, I started driving flatbeds, and I was just starting to make. I drove everything, but I got the flatbeds.
Mm-hmm.
I hated it at first, but then I got the paychecks for it, and I was loving it. And,
Mm-hmm.
um, and then
it's amazing what you put up with for a good paycheck.
yeah, it really well. This was like late '90s, and my minimum check after taxes every week was $1,000.
Nice.
And
Yeah,
that's like me at the factory. Um, all I had to do is agree to do a little bit of overtime, $1,000 a week after taxes and insurance and everything else. Um, I hated doing overtime because I had stuff I needed to do at home, and
Yeah.
most of that was just grow up.
I I think I would have appreciated overtime, but I was over the road, so every day was overtime for me. So
Oh well, you know the thing about trucking industry is back when they had the fuel crunch of 79, trucking company went to Congress and lobbied to said, hey man, we're losing money out the wazoo for these fuel prices. You got to help us out. So they got a law passed that exempted mechanics, truck drivers, and dock workers from getting paid overtime.
Yeah.
Now, eventually, a lot of companies, as the economy improved and all, eventually started paying overtime again. Not all of them, though. Some of them did. And they were still legally allowed to because of the law they passed in 79.
Mm.
Yeah, I got paid by the mile, and it depended on what kind of freight I had. So if I had good freight, had a lot of miles, then I was doing okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, flatbeds were the way to go. I was working my way into oversized and heavy haul. I wanted to start pulling that. That was where the big money was at the time, and just didn't work out for me, unfortunately.
Well, I wouldn't want to do it, but I know in some states out west you can pull triples.
Oh yeah,
I would not want to do that.
I pulled doubles a couple times, but it was for like a company that kind of what they specialized in was moving trailers around from one place to another. So I never had a load on the doubles, but they were actually kind of fun to drive. I never pulled triples, never pulled a tanker, but I pulled just about everything else. I started out with course dry freight in a big old box, and then I drove a reefer for a while. And
so the doubles you pulled, were they 28-foot trailers or were they 53s?
Oh man, no, not that big. They weren't the 53s. This was in Texas, so basically I was going from Houston up to Dallas and picking up empties and pulling them back.
Okay.
But it was fun. It was something to do.
I had a professor years ago told me, he says, if you ever head out west, like Texas, Oklahoma, he said, be real careful when you're driving. He said, especially if it starts raining. He says, because unlike here, where they use a lot of sand and asphalt, they use a lot of oil and petroleum in their asphalt, so it gets really slick really quick.
Yeah.
And Chris, you and I know a lady truck driver that we meet almost every year at LibertyCon, and she used to show. Yep, Sally. Incredible lady. Seriously, she works harder than I don't know, very many more people than I have ever known in my life. And she's got a great sense of humor. And she's fun to party with at the conventions and everything. She's got stories. There are things when she was driving up north and had to go across some bridge up there where you had to be real careful because there were crosswinds, and if you weren't real careful, you could wind up towing a trailer sideways across the rest of the bridge. You just and you'd be driving in a straight line. It's just the wind.
Yeah. Well, thank God I never had to cross that bridge up around Seattle, that Galloping whatever it was.
Galloping Gertie.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh wow! I'm sorry to interrupt, but I just got on Instagram, and my daughter just got her tattoo apprentice graduate certificate.
All right, congratulations for us.
Yeah, I'm impressed. She turned out. I was this one. I was not expecting. All my children are like artists and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Not expecting her to really be an artist, but yeah, she's actually she's actually the best out of all of them.
Hey, tattoo artists are surprisingly good. It's amazing what they can freehand.
Well, they have to.
Yeah,
They have to be.
Sure.
They have to be. Their customers are some of the pickiest around.
I mean, I've got some bad tattoos and they need fixed, but yeah. But unfortunately, when I go down to Huntsville this year, it's going to be to see the new baby, and she's not going to fill up to doing any ink. So, but I'm going to get her to cover up some couple tats I have that I definitely need to get rid of.
Okay.
But, eventually, I'm trying to see where she works. I can't tell, unfortunately.
There's two things I never got tempted to do. One of them was to get a tattoo, and the other was to get an ear pierced. Don't ask me why. There's nothing wrong with that. It just never seemed to be for me. Now I desperately need some kind of mnemonic tattoo on my right hand, like a rosebud or something, so I can tell right from left because I'm dyslexic. Somebody tells me to turn left, I'm going, which left? Because I don't have a left, I don't have a right. I've just got this one works and this one works. So I needed something, and I've always wanted to just something that would remind me which hand was which.
Mm-hmm.
Thesis, have you ever had somebody that you were trying to train sword fighting, they couldn't tell one hand from the other without stopping to think about it?
Yeah. And it
That's
was
where I live.
thing I had ever experienced. I had to just tell them, just mirror me. We're gonna do this the hard way, because holy shit.
Let me pull up this link here from Paul. There you go.
All right, tattoo artist at Golden Phoenix.
That's her Instagram page. You can see what her art, the tattoos that she does.
Okay.
It stuck it together with the name. I don't know why I did that. I put a space there, but it said, nope, I don't want a space there.
Lillian.
Hey, trying to put links into StreamYard and sometimes Facebook gets really messed up from time to time. It can drive you crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I almost failed a driving exam at driver's ed class in high school. Instructor says, pull up to the end of the road here and take a right. I went left. He goes, okay, your other right next time.
Well, I got my motorcycle license. That was back in like the 80s. The person that was giving me the test, they were behind with my family in the car following me, and he said, "Well, if I have to say anything bad about what he's doing, he's being too careful." And I said, "I'll take that."
Yeah, really. Better that than too careless.
Yes.
I did not get marked down on the test because I did a few things the instructor forgot to tell me to do, like come up to a four-way stop and check every direction before I pulled out, and he forgot to say anything about that. In his defense, he was a football coach, and he was also teaching sex ed as well as driver's ed. And I'm going, there's a weird mix that those two could happen in
Mm.
these 1970s high school classrooms. Um, if you aren't careful while you're driving a car, you could wind up being a dad real easy.
Mm.
My algebra teacher in junior high, he was also a coach. And all the cheerleaders and football players and basketball players got 100% of his attention. Even if you were asking him a question, if another one of them had a question, he would ignore you from that point on. So I struggled at math for a long time after that introduction to algebra, or it was algebra 1 or whatever.
Mhm.
Math
Yeah,
didn't stick with me really well until I got to college. It was just
I wound up getting in trouble with the world's oldest algebra teacher in the 1970s Georgia high
Mhm.
schools. It, she called on me, said, "Go up to the board, solve this equation." I walked up to the board, I put the answer down. She goes, "No, you got to show me all the steps." And I go, "There aren't any steps. This is the answer. Everything, everything balanced. This is it." She goes, "Yes, you're right, but there's other stuff that comes in between." I go, "What, do you think I'm stupid?" I got in big trouble for that.
Yeah, they don't tend to like that.
No. And then I got into college, they put me in remedial math, and 90% of my classmates were football students for University of Georgia.
Mm.
Yeah. There was a huge grading curve for that class. Um, I caught on, but it's probably because um, set theory came really easy to me. I don't know why. I could see things. I mean, um, probably had to do with my earlier childhood being spent in the Knoxville nuclear belt, where people were being trained from an early age to go work at Oak Ridge and build nuclear bombs for the United States.
Mm.
Uh, that was, at that time, that was one of the best education systems in the world. Um,
Yep.
but I didn't really get the hang of any kind of complicated math until I started working with Excel spreadsheets, and I go, "Oh, wait, this is just formulas. This box and this box, do this, add this, subtract this, multiply this, and there you go. Bob's your uncle." It just, all of a sudden, everything clicked, and I do things with Excel spreadsheets now that people think are insane. I had one writer go, "How did you do that poster?" And I go, "I pulled up Excel and I figured out how to do the insert this photo here, tilt it by this much, um, and." And she goes, "Nobody can do that with Excel." And I go, "I can."
Dan,
Um,
look up roller coaster simulator in Excel. There's a guy who actually made a roller coaster simulation in Excel. You can
you
make
can
any
do
kind of program in Excel.
you can do anything with this shit. There, I have actually run programs that were written by engineers in Europe, and I looked at it and I looked at it and I looked at it and go, "This is an Excel spreadsheet that pretends it's a program."
Yeah.
And they go, "Yeah."
Mm.
The possibilities are endless. All you have to do is pay attention to where you click and what modifiers you put in, and it it it's blindingly simple. I've got a budget spreadsheet, and I had a retirement spreadsheet, and there were pages that had like 78 variables. Um, Physicists don't work with 78 variables. I mean, jeez. Um, I had written something for the job that I was doing at the factory, where I could estimate how much of a how many boxes from a pallet of tape that I would need in a 12-hour period. And I was good at it. And people from the office came and asked me, how the hell do you do this? And I go, well, I've got this formula written out. And they copied the formula down, and the lady that copied the formula down got promoted and got a raise for being able to give this formula to corporate. I didn't get shit. Her respect,
Yeah.
but that's about it. Um, I could have used a little bit of a bonus for doing your job for you, honey. But no, it's all right. It's all right. The things happen, and with my view of the world, things happen for a reason. Sometimes the reason is you're stupid and you screwed up, and sometimes the reason is you were in the right place at the right time.
Hmm.
The difference is how you feel about both of those eventualities. Um, if you don't get pissed off and you're able to just go, hey, now I have a new skill, or hey, what the hell did you just do? Uh, there's a big difference between those two eventualities. But as long as you can find a bright side, which sometimes is very difficult to do in some given situations in life, that bright side can be very obscure, or it could just be blindingly obvious. It all depends on what happened, why it happened, and how you react to it. And I do believe that how you react to it
Hmm.
is the important component. Good God, I got to quit talking about math. I mean, seriously, I sound like I know my ass from a hole in the ground now. Um,
What's that con you're going to?
Huntsville Comic Expo.
I'll let her know about it because she might. I don't know if she wants to pass out cards or something, but she might have a big audience there.
mhm.
Well, they probably had 100,000 people there last year with Shatner there.
I bet. Yeah. Hell.
Well, and that's a good opportunity for anybody. I mean,
Yeah.
seriously.
Why do
Um,
you think we're going?
um, I know exactly why you're going. Joe Dog is a greedy bastard and wants more money, uh,
Well,
and
we
wants
need
more
people
people to
coming
come
to
to
Hallowcon.
Hallowcon.
So.
Yeah.
When's that start
Um,
next week?
Yeah, it's next Friday and Saturday and Sunday.
oh, and Paul,
Yes.
we regularly go to Joe Dog's convention Halloween weekend every October,
Yeah.
and uh, Chris and Joe Dog and I usually go to LibertyCon in Chattanooga every June, or sometimes the schedule is for July. Um, I
That one's a
used
little
to
harder to
go,
get into.
yeah, that one sells out really quick. I
Like
used
that.
to go to a steampunk convention in Atlanta that has since closed down, but someone else has assumed the franchise and started it up under a different name.
Yep.
And they're good people. They are good people. There were a few problems with the management of the other version that wound up causing it to be a short-term convention that only lived for 12 years.
Where
Mhm.
is that one at? I can't remember.
Uh, Hallowcon is in Dalton, Georgia.
Yeah.
LibertyCon is in Chattanooga. Um, Atlanta Steampunk Expo is
Uh,
right there in Atlanta. The
It's
Huntsville
in February.
convention is in Huntsville.
yeah.
Um,
I'm just trying to think, how far do I have to drive? I've had my
yeah.
car. I've had my car for a year. I've only got 2,200 miles on it. So
Um, one.
Dalton is about 30 minutes south of Chattanooga.
yeah, I know. I lived in when I was a child. I lived in Macon for a while and Jonesboro for a while, and of course I drove a truck, so I know where the hell everything is just about.
Yeah.
So, but I've been through
Yeah.
Dalton many times.
Well, it's right off the interstate, so it's not far from
Chris does
Party Faces.
the the Southern Con
Yeah, the Southern Fandom
database still
Resource Guide is
exist.
still available.
Southern Fandom Resource Guide. Thank you. I couldn't remember the name. It's been around for years, decades.
There are
Um,
literally more conventions than you can possibly go to.
and they
Usually
range
3 or
from
4 each weekend during the
teeny
summertime.
tiny things to great big huge things.
Need some up here close to me in Huntington. That'd be great.
How far away are you from Louisville?
Louisville, I think it's 100 and something miles. Not
Well,
far.
90 minutes.
there is there's one there called Imaginarium
Alexa, how far away is Louisville?
that you want to check
Oh,
out.
200 miles. It's a little further than I thought, but yeah, it's
Oh,
not.
a little further than you thought. Yeah. So, yeah.
It's still doable.
Um,
I mean, it's like I get on 64 and stay there.
yeah, we drive 3 hours to Helicon. We drive 3.5 hours to LibertyCon. Used to be 90 minutes to go to Atlanta. They've raised the speed limits most of the way
Well,
recently.
kind of what I'm trying to do with this car. This is the first new car I've ever owned. Never had a new car before, but I'm trying to get it paid down and keep it really low miles so I can get a good trade in, so I can get a decent pickup truck for my next car.
Mhm.
Or something even smaller. I might go. It's a nice little car. I love my car.
What do you got?
It's a Chevy Trailblazer. And
Okay.
so I was gonna get the next one up. The
How far away is Hunt Valley, Maryland?
far. Maryland's far.
Yeah.
I'm at the very
And
Huntington. I'm right on the border of Ohio and Kentucky. I can drive. I can drive 10 miles or less and be in either one of those states.
if Aunt Donna and Uncle Carl were here, they could tell you some places in Indiana. Is that where they're at?
Yeah.
I can never remember if it's Indiana or Illinois, but
Wait a minute.
they've got
No, Brian K. Morris is Indiana. They're Illinois. They live in Danville.
okay, but they have conventions up in their area. Some of them are quite tiny and quite intimate, but no less fun. Somewhere
So
around
North Carolina's a
Danville.
good ways away from you too, Paul, right?
Oh yeah, oh yeah. I'm on the very west edge of the southern part of West Virginia.
Yeah.
Pikeville, Kentucky.
That's closest, I think. Alexa, how far is Pikeville, Kentucky? 104 miles.
They've got a Pikeville Comic Con on June 1st there.
I'm surprised you don't have more stuff here because
Mm.
we have such a big college uh, population. It's just plus
Hmm.
this is probably I think this is one of the only blue cities in the red state, so I'm not
Well,
sure.
like we said, look up the Southern Fandom Resource Guide.
Yeah.
They've got stuff listed
That's
all over.
that's what I'm pulling up for. I'm trying to find stuff that's close to him. Uh, Annandale, Virginia. Anywhere near you?
Oh no.
What
No,
about
because
Wyers Cave, Virginia?
Virginia is almost as wide as Tennessee.
Yeah. Well, Virginia's on the other. I'm on the far west side. I'm right on the border.
I understand that. I'm just
Far
trying to
things
pull
far.
up stuff that's somewhere near you.
Yeah, nothing. Nothing. Fortunately, Southern Fandom.
I don't know that that will be at Louisville Anime Fest. That's probably.
I just. I used to drive. 10 hours or more a day, and now I get pissed if I have to drive 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Well, when you
And I just get. I'm not. I'm not healthy for long car travel.
Yeah, I actually wind up in pain trying to go more than about 60 miles in any direction and driving 90 miles to uh, Helicon or um, Atlanta or up to Chattanooga. I need some recovery time once I get there.
Yeah. Well, 2 years ago when I moved up here, I moved from New Orleans, and I had to pack. I got I got one of my friends who lives in Louisiana to help. Mostly, I wound up feeding him and buying him some beer, and uh, he wanted to just talk. He didn't help very much, but helped me with like one heavy thing, and the rest was on me. And then, of course, when I got up here, I was completely by myself, and I had to unload the truck, um, just me. But it was no different than any other time I moved when I had taken kids that were supposed to help. But yeah, it's that was a long trip. This is the longest trip I'd made in a long time. Driving up New Orleans up here. But I was so glad to get away from the Gulf Coast. Oh my God, I was so glad to get away from it.
West Virginia is a whole lot safer weather-wise than the
Oh, for
Gulf
sure.
Coast.
There is a
Hmm.
constant hurricane. Well, they call it hurricane, but I call it hurricane. There's a constant hurricane just a little north and east of me. It's there all the time.
wow, they've already got some listings for 2025, Dan.
Who? I know who, but
Southern
where?
fan.
Where?
Well, Chattacon, of course.
Chattacon, of course. Yeah, that's
Georgia Filk Festival.
okay.
Um, Ichiban Con in North Carolina.
Sounds like that's an anime festival.
They have a Dice Tower cruise, January 5th through the 12th, Miami, Florida.
I'll go to Daytona, but I probably won't enjoy it. Miami, I don't think so.
Pensacon is February 14th through the 16th.
Oh, if I'm going to do that, I'd go to the SCA event, even though I haven't done an SCA event in almost 50 years.
Yeah.
Uh,
And there's probably about 10 or 12 others.
You need to make a trip to Houston and go to the Renaissance Festival. They have one of the big Renaissance festivals in the country down there north of Houston.
yeah, I'd
Georgia's ain't bad.
pretty much have to go through Atlanta airport security to do that, and I would pretty much rather just walk through Atlanta with a machine gun and a flamethrower than go to the airport. Um,
Yeah, I agree there.
you are treated with no amount of respect whatsoever. To Atlanta airport security, you are just cattle.
Wow.
You are not even human. Uh,
Well, the
Move
one good,
along. Give me everything that's in your wallet. Give me everything that's in your suitcase, and then I might let you get on your airplane.
the one good thing about Atlanta Airport is once you get past security, it's fairly easy to navigate.
Yeah. If it weren't for security, yeah, Lindsay and I'd be still flying back and forth to England and visiting our family.
Yeah.
It's just Atlanta airport security is, as far as I know, it's got the worst reputation in the entire world.
Well, it doesn't help. It's the busiest airport in the world, and you've got
Well, that may be cause and effect there too.
I'm pretty sure because of that, they want to make sure nothing happens on their watch. Unfortunately, that means you got to deal with their overzealousness.
It's not so much the overzealousness; it's the um, treating you like you're being loaded on a cattle train to Auschwitz. Um,
It's time to end the TSA. It's well past time.
it's well past, yes, but they're embedded now. Um, I can agree with airports needing security, but
They always
not.
have security. I don't think they need any more. The security they had in the past and the security they have now isn't going to keep anybody from doing what they did on 9/11.
No.
Not a thing.
If
It's
somebody is
one
determined
thing
enough, they will find a way.
happening is the cockpits are now locked at all times.
But nothing is going to stop somebody from renting a plane
Yeah.
Oh no!
or taking over a plane.
Well, there's this guy on YouTube who shows you how to buy everything you need at the airport stores to build things that go boom. Everything. You can buy every single item in the airport stores and make a bad thing.
Once you get past security, yeah, the
Yes.
duty free shops at that,
Yeah.
yeah. Like I said,
Well,
Dad
ingredient.
used to work at Oak Ridge. You'd be surprised at the things that a smart person can make go boom.
The main ingredient right now to make something that would damage an airplane is a lithium battery, and then everything else you buy right there at the airport inside after you pass security. Then there's a guy on YouTube showing people how to do it.
Doesn't surprise me.
Nope.
No, very few things surprise me anymore, especially about how to get around restrictions everywhere in the world. And then there are places where they go, don't do this here.
Yeah.
They will take you out and put a bullet through the back of your head. Mostly those are Southeast Asian countries, but, you know, there are Middle Eastern ones as well. Um, Hell, New Zealand used to let you immigrate there and take your guns. Now they don't.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't
They
imagine
don't
that.
want you. They don't want Americans with firearms either.
Man, I wish I could have gone to see Hong Kong before China took over.
Oh,
It was a really neat place. Now I just wind up in a gulag or whatever they call it.
yeah. Um, So many places on Earth I would love to be able to go, but there's no way I could be pain free long enough to get there.
Mm.
Yeah,
Um,
I can relate to
it would
that.
be very difficult for me to uh, manage even a 12-hour flight to England anymore. Um, and not because I've got to go through Atlanta, because I could go to Charleston or I could go several other places, get a connecting flight in New York, and already be behind security because my baggage got checked someplace else. But no, it's just 12 hours in a chair is no longer comfortable at all. And there's nothing I can do. Um, I'm just I'm just old. And everything hurts and everything will continue to hurt no matter how much money I pay some fancy doctor somewhere. Um, and that's life. Mm.
Sorry, guys.
I know, I know.
Been a long day.
I'm tired
Uh,
tonight.
we got another 15 to 20 minutes or so, but
Yeah.
we can end the show early, and there are people that watch the show later that will go, "My God, you didn't last for 3 hours this time." And and
Mhm.
Dan was awake the entire time and not slurring. Um,
Hey,
I'm sorry.
sometimes we do good,
sometimes, yeah. Um,
but yeah, I think I'm gonna bow out because I'm really starting to fade fast. So
I
I
know
will,
the feeling. I know the feeling. Um,
but I'm glad I was able to join in and hopefully add to the conversation a little.
Oh, for
well,
sure.
if you can, um, give everybody a shout out for the convention in Huntsville, for Hallowcon, for whatever, and then
I can do
we'll
that.
yeah.
Everyone, I highly encourage you to look into attending Hallowcon this year. You're going to definitely find it one of the more relaxing and enjoyable conventions that you go to. The food is great. We have authors of some renown, including Dan Hollifield, who we're happy to have.
For now.
And we will be promoting Hallowcon at Huntsville Comic Expo this upcoming weekend, um, April 12th through the 14th at the Von Braun Center in Huntsville. They're going to have George Takei and other guests, and we'll be there, and we will have more information about Hallowcon. And you can check out our website, www.hallowcon.com. You can find out some of our guests and a little bit about the convention coming up this year. Pre-registration's only $45. That includes your meals and beverages all weekend long. You definitely don't want to miss out. We hope to see you there.
Megan is an awesome cook.
That she is, and we've got some awesome guests. And I hope if you can't,
Aside from me, uh,
you're awesome in your own way.
yeah, but my own way is. Uh,
Hey, sometimes the path less trodden is one of the more interesting ones
I
and
do what I
entertaining.
can with what I got to work with. Uh,
You do
if
well,
people
Dan.
like what I do, I'm infernally grateful. If they don't, there are other people that do equally awesome things in a totally different direction, and I'm fine with that.
And before I forget, folks, and before I sign off, check out Aphelion Webzine, one of the oldest online education writing um, webzines that Dan has helped. What is it? 500 writers become
Yeah,
public.
but so far we've had at least 500 amateur writers learn enough to turn pro and start getting paid for their work, and some of them have become big names. I'm very proud of all of them. The only drawback is once they start getting a paycheck for writing a story, they don't send us much anymore. Hey,
No, I
that's
don't imagine
that's
they do.
evolution right there.
Oh,
It's not
oh,
like they outgrew us. It's hey, graduation ceremony. Here's your diploma. Go forth and conquer the world.
and
Uh,
also want to encourage people to check out Bladed Thesis Tea Room.
yes, that is always fun.
Unique
I try not to ever get involved with writing on a night that Thesis is doing a show.
and check out Thesis and the lovely Foxy's wares and items that they have for sale and create. You don't want to miss it. You'll learn something, and you'll hopefully be a little more peaceful afterwards.
Yeah.
And check out Paul's stuff. I'm sure he's got stuff you can check out too. I don't know it as well, so I'll let him refer to that. In the meantime, I will bid y'all all good night, and we'll see you next time I see you.
Good night, Chris. Thanks for
Thank
Good
you,
night.
Chris. Thank you
Take
very
care,
much.
everybody.
Thesis, give us a link for the tea room and tell us a little bit about the training that you do of your students and everything.
YouTube.com/bladed thesis, just like you see in the little title right there. I do mainly Chinese martial arts, but I've been branching out a little bit into European, mostly because of Nick Tockert. Lovely things like this. Mostly sword based, but other things too.
lightsabers.
Could do a little bit if you so desire. It wouldn't be, canon, but I've done some lightsaber combat.
And speaking of Nick Tockert, he just showed up right as we were about to
Yeah!
end the show.
Summon.
Yeah, Nick Tockert deserves a shout out. The fighting axe, the fighting sword, the fighting spear. Really, and the Historical Fencing Guild on Friday nights on YouTube.
Yep.
Nick is an amazing, amazing guy and a wonderful friend. Anything we can do to help him. He's also a damn good writer, as his thesis now, because I challenged him and he sent me a story and I'm going, ooh, this is good.
Is that going to be in this month's episode or?
No, it's I've already got April and May filled up, so it'll be June before his story, and I believe Joe Bachman's story get a chance to appear because I've already replied to all the writers for this month and next month and said, hey, here you go. I'm retired now, so I can get ahead of schedule, and sometimes that turns around to bite me in the butt because I would have run stuff early, but I can't because the slots are already full.
Man, I'm gonna have to get something turned in, or I won't get published till December. Yeah.
Hey, we got
Yeah.
one guy that's already sent me enough stuff to where he's going to have something in every month until next March.
Wow, nice.
I mean, I mean, he sends me at least one thing every week.
Wow.
Hey, and they're all good. I mean, I can't turn him down. It's just, dude, there are other markets. You don't have to wait 6 months to have this one show up.
Well, after Aphelion, I'd like to be in like sci-fi, and what is it? Science and science fiction magazine.
mhm.
That's a good one. I wouldn't mind writing something for Hitchcock magazine. That one's really fun.
Yeah.
Um,
I wish I could write something good enough for whatever the latest incarnation of Ellery Queen's mystery magazine, but I don't
yeah,
often do mysteries.
I don't think that
So
exists anymore.
it
They
might not.
shut
It
down.
might not.
A lot
But
of Clark's
should.
World is another good for science fiction writers.
Mhm.
Um, there's another one other than Clark's World. Lightspeed magazine is really good. They take submissions all the time. So yeah, I mean, if
Yeah, there are markets. There are markets out there. I mean,
people need to spread their stuff around, and some of them pay, some of them don't, and it's cool. I think just getting published and having a bunch of people read your stuff would be freaking amazing.
yeah, really, really.
Well, someday my fantasy is to get a Hugo. That won't never happen, but I like to fantasize about it.
I miss Omni magazine.
Oh
Yes,
God,
indeed, I do too.
I read the hell out of Omni when I was a kid. That wasn't Omni a spinoff though from from Playboy, the stories in Playboy originally.
Penthouse.
I thought Omni was a Playboy magazine.
It was Guccione. It was
Okay.
definitely Penthouse. Believe me,
Okay.
my dad had a
I couldn't remember.
my dad had a subscription from the very first issue
Oh
of
shoot! Man.
Penthouse. So yeah,
Well, I didn't have Penthouse. I was too young, but my parents did make sure I had Omni. I loved that magazine.
oh yeah, yeah. I used to buy that every month, and then the nicest rejection letter I ever got was from their sci-fi editor. She goes, "Hey, you show definite promise, but it's just a promise right now. So keep trying. Don't give up. Keep working." And I went, "Okay."
Well, it's good to get a response from people, even.
Hey, this was the only handwritten rejection slip I ever got instead of a form letter. And she said, "Hey, keep trying. Definitely got a ways to go, but you're getting there." And I kept right on going.
A lot of people these days are saying they aren't even getting form letters. They just never hear back from them. Never.
Yeah, the traditional publishing has changed a lot in the last 20 years. And it's a much harder market to break into. And, Donna and Carl have it right. If you can network with editors and cover artists and whatnot, why not go ahead and throw it up on one of the independent things like Lulu or whatever, and just cut out the middleman altogether? And there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, it used to have a stigma attached to it, but not so much anymore. There's a lot of respectable stuff coming out through people who are going, "Hey, I met this person in this chat room, and I met this person at this convention, and they're going to help me get this manuscript good enough to actually put in front of the public. And I'm going to go through this independent publisher. Uh, oh, Nick, no, I am not. I can't even finish the story. I just started the second story on that, and it sucks. Um, it's not. The problem is, it's not something that I came up with, and I go, I've got to write this. It's people asked for a sequel, so I'm obligated, and it's not turning out that well. I mean, I'm not gonna delete the file, but it's oh, I've got I have contracts that I need to fulfill, and um, going down this particular rabbit hole is keeping me from fulfilling those contracts. So I've got to get the next Marinebrium book out. I have got to. I've got at least three more Tom Darby books I need to get out because those have been planned for a long time. I've got the steampunk book that's been sitting there. All I got to do is finish writing one. I don't want to call it a chapter, but it's like a very, very, very long um, novella, and then you know I can get back once I get these things that I feel obligated I have to do because my publisher wants this, my publisher wants that. Then I can step back and go to my fans want this, my fans want that. I just uh, I think I rushed it a bit because people people like that particular story, and even as an audio, it only takes 20 minutes to listen to. It's not that long a read. Um, Probably shouldn't take a normal reader longer than it took me to recite it. Um, but I I have contracts. I've got to fulfill the contracts. Then I can step back and go, okay, now it's time for fun stuff. Where's the fun stuff going to come from? Um, so many voices in my head, so little time. I ain't getting any damn younger. I've got to get all this stuff. I've got to get all the music out too. And then one day I'll just go, okay, that's it. This is all you get. Buy it or suffer. Um, no, Nick, I'm not going to agonize myself. Um, it's just there are so many people that want me to do things that I haven't gotten gear for yet, basically. Um, and no, I'm not trying to be a prima donna. Um, I'm just going. I've got this needs to be done. This is a time frame. I've got this needs to be done. This is a time frame. I've got this that's been sitting on the back burner for a long time. I want to get this done, and then the new stuff can happen. So, well, Paul had to sign off. Thesis. Um,
I
it's
just
always a pleasure.
I have to take a break.
Yeah, that's all it is. That's all it is. And thank you for being supportive, Nick. Um, it, it's like Uncle Carl with people telling him he needs to do a third and a fourth and a fifth Mad Gasser cheerleader. He doesn't want to. He's ready to turn that into a shared universe. I can't turn old Dan into a shared universe yet, but that day may be coming. I don't know. We'll see. But I'm going to run the bedtime story and say goodnight to Thesis, say goodnight to Paul, say goodnight to Chris, even though those two guys have already checked out for the evening. And then I've got to run down the hallway really fast. So
Say
good night, everybody. And we'll see y'all Thursday.
Yep.
And yeah, Paul, sorry.
Gracie.
Good night, Gracie.
I'll stick around for the bedtime story.
All right. And good night, and thank you for being part of the audience. We all love you. So
You're such a
Here we
friendly
go.
audience. We'd love to take you home with us.
exactly. Well,
Out of the room.
see y'all Thursday.
Good night.
Transmission overload. System will shut down. 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 System will shut down.
Hello, I'm Dan Hollifield. I'm the senior editor and publisher of Aphelion Webzine, the world's oldest free creative writing e-zine since 1997. Since then, we have helped over 500 amateur writers learn what they needed to turn pro. www.aphelion-webzine.com and read not only what we've got going on right now, but 28 years worth of our archives of stories. Thank you very much.
Oh, son of a gun. You thought I was going to say son of a bitch, didn't you?